Billionaire Island is nothing more than whimsical, jealous, poor people writing. Bizarro is basically going to have an existential identity crisis, and Strange Academy is basically every CW show out there. This is my Holland review. Let's roll that intro. Hey, what's going on, you wonderful weirdos? Thanks for coming by. I'm Pocan Joe. If this is your first time on the channel, I am doing a haul-in review for comic books that came out March 4th with just a quick synopsis and my take on them. If you want to dive deeper into these books, by all means, check us out on Blaster or Stash at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on YouTube. So without further ado, let's break down some of these comic books. I got my notes, I got my coffee, and I got a stack. So the first comic book I want to talk about is Strange Academy. Like I said at the beginning, basically it's a school for magical kids ran by Doctor Strange. It's every CW show out there. Legacies, Sabrina, Kathy, even Riverdale. It's basically that. A bunch of kids in there. But they are taking it to a different level here, I guess, is the best way to put it. Doctor Strange basically runs a school. Brother Voodoo's pretty much in charge of the school with specialized instructors coming in there. Some good, some not so good. The kids have unique powers and they need to learn to get along with each other. So that's fun. Of course, I had to get the Scotty Young cover because, well, my wife collects Scotty Youngs. So, you know, I want her involved in it as well. So we got that. Next, Marauders, number 9. I don't know what Marauders is doing. So basically in this issue, we find out that Yellow Jacket is inside of some Pyro. And they do some magical mind stuff, Emma Frost does, to draw him out and make him go away. And it was like that. They did this big build up for it, and then come to find out, it's not that big of a deal. Because, you know, there's feeling stuff going on. So we got to deal with that. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be keeping up with the Marauder stuff. Because honestly, it's just starting to bore me at this point. They should have stuck to the pirate stuff. The pirate stuff was cool. But no, we're going to talk about this other stuff that nobody cares about. Spiderman New War came out this week. I love Spiderman New War, especially this. This whole tone is actually kind of cool. Quick synopsis that I got from this was, and I wrote it down this way too. It's actually funny. There was a murder, you see. A murder. A dame got laid cold. That's the feeling of this whole entire thing here. And yes, there was a murder. Somebody died. So now with World War II in the air, Spider-Man, or Peter Parker, the gumshoe himself, has to take off to go solve this murder, and it's in Germany with the war starting to kick up. I love this, and the artwork in this was so just beautiful. If you did not pick this book up, rush out and get it just for the artwork alone. It is just really cool looking, and I enjoy the story too. It's a mystery. We're going globe-trotting. Awesome. Next is Spiderverse. This was a huge letdown for me. The ending was stupid. Basically, the Web of Destiny, it's got a tangle in it. And for some reason, because there's a tangle in the Web of Destiny, that it's alive or something. I'm not really sure. We did get our epic battle with all the different Spider-Mans coming in there and fighting a bunch of bad guys from some other world just randomly. The person that's trapped inside the tangle is super weak on the inside, but for some reason when she came out, like, she's super strong again and taking care of business. So thanks for showing up, guys. I really had it under control. Horrible ending. It was just horrible. Next, Dark Agnes. I'm loving this. It takes place in, like, I think 1500s France or something along those lines. And she's so obsessed with killing this guy that killed her mentor that she actually gets framed for murder of somebody else, somebody she protected at one point. So that's kind of cool. I'm kind of digging this. I met the writer of this book, and they promised that some good things are going to be coming out of this. It's not a superhero story. It's a skilled story, and I really like it. I think it's smartly written. Marvel, number 1. This is Alex Ross's story. So you got about 3 stories in here. I don't know. I tried to get into it, but basically the overarching story is Nightmare's going through and showing Doctor Strange, he's a prisoner of Nightmare, these different stories in here, and just nothing memorable about it. Like, it was just pretty bland. Some of the artwork was okay, but again, no real hype behind it. I do love that cover there. I kind of like the vintage antique covers. That was pretty cool. All right, moving on to DC. Villains. So, as I said at the beginning, all the stories in here are, the villain's perspective of Clark Kent revealing himself as Superman. And like Lex Luthor's was pretty funny in here. He kind of just lost his temper, and then a bunch of other people had feelings and thoughts about it too. And then the cool one was the last one with Bizarro, because his entire persona is based off of Superman, and come to find out, it kind of messes with him. So probably the most. I don't think they're going to harp too much on that. I think they should. I think it's a great example of identity crisis for a character who's based his entire existence off of the opposite of Superman. So how does that work now that he's really just Clark Kent at the end of the day? What does that turn him into? It's interesting. Is it deep? It's shallow, but it makes you think. I liked it. Definitely enjoyed it. Speaking of things that I enjoyed, oh my lord, have you been reading this? So we get some more information. We'll call it an origin of the designer and what made him be him. We also found out that the Joker is a pretty sick guy, as if we didn't already know that. But as the designer's going through these various villains to give them the perfect crime, basically think big or go home type of speech, the Joker gives him his, and the designer wants everybody out of his house and wants to kill everybody. Like, that's how insane apparently the Joker is. That even another criminal mastermind is just absolutely just, what are you thinking? What is that he was thinking? We don't know. But oh my God, this is so good and sick at the same time. And we're bringing back classic villains. Thank you. Moving on. Strange Adventures. This was a weird one for me. I liked the flashback sections of this more than I liked the current run. I liked the idea that they brought the Zeta Beam back that traps him back and forth at various times. That was pretty cool. Um, and of course, there's been a murder because he wrote a book as he came back to Earth. He writes his book. He gets all these accolades, awards, medals for fighting this war on another planet. Really cool stuff. Very John Carpenter, Warlord of Mars type of scenario going on there. The cool thing about this is that the murder that happens is a guy that kind of lost his mind on him because social media is a viral thing, and he calls him a war criminal. So the guy ends up dying, gets his head blown off by a laser blast. Dun, dun, dun. There's our mystery. So Strange tries to get his good buddy there, Batman, to say, hey, look, figure this out. Like, if I'm guilty, I'm guilty, whatever. Look at it objectively. Batman says he can't because he's friends and you've saved my life too many times. So he brings in brings somebody up off the benches, one of the world's smartest men. Yes, he brings in Mr. Terrific. Why? Because every now and then you just got to use your IP properties. That's who's in here. So, yeah. So if I spoiled that for you, sorry, but it's Mr. Terrific. What's that going to turn into? I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. Next is Flash, issue number 750. This is just a bunch of stories of the various different Flashes. They spend a lot of time with Wally West in here. I don't know why they keep pushing that character down our throat. Not a huge fan of him. The Barry Allen stuff was pretty cool in here. We see what it would be like if the Flash never existed, that there will always be some form of a Flash out there. I thought that was kind of cool. But other than that, it's just a bunch of quick stories about the Flash. Just kind of updating you there. Moving on to my independents. This was super surprising. This is the secret book of the week. Yes. Mercy. Oh my lord, this is good. We got like a supernatural vibe to it. We got mystery, intrigue. I love the language and the dialogue that they use in this. The artwork is just outstanding, and there's just weird stuff going on. All they're doing in this is just a quick introduction of our people that are involved in the story. Also, this is not a book for children. Like, there's a three-way going on in this thing, and I was like, whoa, pump the brakes a little bit there. That's a little risque. But either way, it was for a setup. It was still good stuff. I really enjoy this. Is it going to go anywhere as far as value or speculation? Honestly, I don't know, and I don't care. This was just a good read. So if you're a true comic book fan, you love just good mystery, horrifying comics, you may want to pick this up. Definitely, definitely on the hit list for me. I'll be finishing that up. Queen of the Black Coast. So got me. This is basically just a Conan story in Bellet. That's really what this is. It's their first meeting, how they met, that kind of thing, and traveling together and working together. Again, not a comic book for kids, but surprisingly, I liked this take on the story. It made sense, and it's good. It's legitimately good. A little wordy in the narration, like super wordy. Like it's just on and on and on. Very little dialogue, a lot of narration. And I didn't care for that. But all in all, the artwork in here is good, and it's an adult-themed book, and it was fun. It was a good read. Next, something, again, another one I really liked this week was The King of Nowhere. Um, this is basically the show. I don't know how many of you seen this show. I watched a couple episodes of it. It's like Midnight Texas, that show that came on with the town of the people that could be vampires or whatever else. And it's kind of like a cross between that and the Twilight Zone in this weird kind of way. Our lovable bum here wakes up and he thinks he's tripping on LSD because everybody in this town of nowhere is like fish heads and deer and like they're all magical weird monsters. And so he thinks he's tripping, but he's done this so many times, he's just going to play it out normal and ride this high out. And then he realizes real quick, thanks to the sheriff, that not so much. Like, this is just a weird place. So now he's got to deal with that. And then we also got a villain in the background who loves using a nail gun to kill people. And he did in here. Like, it was crazy. This is just stupid good. I don't care for the artwork in it, but the story itself was legit, and I like it. And I'll be picking more up just for the story itself. Moving on. The Crow is back. Yes. The Crow is back with amnesia. He's in a freak show putting nails and stabbing himself so people can watch it. I like the Carney aspect of it. I think that's really great. I think it's smart. He's getting little flashbacks of his past, and there's a golden-eyed killer out there who already killed the person that runs the show. So things are about to kind of light up in this and get weird. I'm going to follow this, even though it was never really like a huge Crow fan. Like, I remember the movie back in the day. It was pretty cool. But as far as comic book goes, I was just always, it's very macabre. You know, the world is dark and everything's dark around me. Ugh. Right? This kind of livens up a little bit with the whole Carney aspect to it, and I really liked it. And it just made sense. Billionaire Island. So, as I said in the beginning, I don't know. This is the guy that wrote Second Coming. This is fun, and it's stupid at the same time. It's an extreme version. Basically, billionaires go out on an island, a mechanical island that can float, because climate is destroying everything, the cities and stuff like that. There's a aversion to poor people in this, and being questioned. They made the island to avoid taxes and pretty much do whatever they want. Our main antagonist in this has actually got 3 people locked up in a oversized hamster cage, because, you know, one guy questioned his accounts, another one is a top executive, and then a nosy reporter, and then some other guy. I don't know what he did, but we'll find out soon enough. And there's a guy who really just wants to go and kill this main guy that owns these food company that did GMO food in Angola. Why did they pick Angola? I don't know. In Angola, and it turned people sterile, and that was kind of the plan. So yeah, it's weird, but it's fun. So I don't know if I'll pick up another issue of it, but it's definitely interesting enough to check out. The Goon. If you've ever watched the show, I don't think I've ever said a bad thing about The Goon. This is no exception. This is still a good book. In this one, we have competing breweries. Witch's Brew and then the Fish Brew Company. Fish Brew Company always being there. We find out that originally the Witches had the brewing company there and they were chased out by the fish heads, the Krauts, whatever. Eventually kicked them out. Now they're back and they're making a better beer, and the fish people have got a problem with it, and Goon and his crew are stuck in the middle of it again. Whimsically fun and macabre at the same time. Good stuff. And last but not least, I picked up Argus. This is weird. I don't know if anybody remembers the show or the movie. It had Jet Li in it. It was called One, where like there was dimension hopping. Well, in this one, our main antagonist has figured out the temporal time zones and how to jump through time. Basically took a bunch of himself and made like this Argus company thing. I don't know. It's time. They're trying to explain it in here, and it's not make that part's not making much sense. But he grabs a bunch of himself from parallel universes, and they kind of control this time thing. Well, one of him went bad, and he's pretty much murderous. So he's jumping through trying to kill everybody, much like the movie One. That's the connection there. It's interesting. I like it. It's a little too sciencey talk as far as time travel goes and why they can't, what the rules are. They spend a lot of time explaining it, and I guess that's important so we know the rules of the world. But I don't know. They could have done it a different way, or maybe just briefly. No, we can't do that. That would have been great. I don't know. I'll probably pick up another issue of this just to see if it goes anywhere. But right now, I'm kind of on the fence with it. So that's my pickup this week. So what's going on? So I'm sure, as you heard already, Emerald City Comic Con has canceled because Corona. Yeah, apparently it's really bad. I'm going to Seattle anyway. Unfortunately, my tickets are non-refundable, and it's too close to the actual date for me to get my full refund for my Airbnb. So I'm going anyway. So if you're in the Seattle area and you have some Perel on you, I would love to still be able to meet you, grab some beers, let's go dollar bin diving, let's check out some breweries, the sites. We'll still do videos from there, even a haul video. So my plans haven't changed. I'm coming to Seattle anyway. Just bring some extra soap and some sanitizer, and we'll figure this out, I guess. I don't know. So, yeah, that's my life. So, hopefully, if you're watching this and you're in the Seattle area, man, it would be really cool to meet you. Maybe go grab a bite to eat. Maybe talk, look at some sites, whatever the case may be. I think Huey's still going to go too. We'll find out. Don't forget, Blaster Stash It, Sunday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on YouTube. Also, we're going to be doing a G.I. Joe show today at some point, where we're going to pick the top 10 G.I. Joes in our personal view and kind of talk about those. So keep your eyes open. If you hit that little notification bell on the Blaster Stash It, it will pop up, and then you'll know when we're talking about this stuff, and you can jump into the chat and join us as well. That would be fun. So definitely, guys, check us out. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.